All right, guys, we are back. Episode 5 of What's My Line. I can't believe I've done 5 episodes of this thing. First of all, I can't believe you have listened to me for 5 episodes. So thank you. And I don't know why, but like I said, thank you so much. And today I'm actually joined by as of this taping, the reigning and defending SOAR Women's Champion, Machiko.
Yo, what up?
Not much. How's things with you?
Busy but good. I flew back in from South Bend, Indiana this morning, and yeah, I'm still pretty tired, but I wouldn't change it. It's good.
The grind of being a pro wrestler, right?
Yes, and bartender too, unfortunately, because I had a bartend the night before flying out there Thursday night, and yeah, I haven't slept much the last 2 days.
Well, we'll just get right into it. So like I said, you're the reigning defending SOAR Women's Champion. So you are a pro wrestler. How long have you been wrestling for?
I had my first match like 7 years ago, but I was only really active like 4 to 5 of those years. So that's usually what I say whenever people ask. But then when I tell like for 4 to 5 years and they end up YouTubing me, they pull out like one of my first matches that is my first match because it's with somebody who's on TV now. So it's like I always have to explain it like that. It's weird.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think I saw you post this the other day. Like the first match that you had, which was against Athena, which people now know as Ember Moon in WWE. I was actually at that show because I'm originally from Austin. I would go to the ACW shows and Inspire shows as well.
Oh, you were there?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Crazy. Yeah, that's yeah. It was luckily it was my first singles match. I did like a tag match. I think the show prior. Um, but yeah, that it randomly came up on my memories on Facebook when I shared it. Like I saw it, I was like, "Oh, screw it, I'll share it again," and I did. And mainly because I like to laugh at it. But luckily, it was with her for sure. Like she definitely helped me out a ton. So
Wait, what a better first opponent to have, right?
yeah, exactly. It was solid. So definitely
Were you
gonna
a
be.
fan? Were you a fan of wrestling growing up, or is this something that it just kind of came up to you as you were kind of coming along the years?
Definitely a fan growing up. But whenever Eddie Guerrero passed away, I was like 13 at the time, like 13 or 14. That's when I kind of dropped off, just because like I guess it was my first real like heartbreak in wrestling. You know, like there's only like a couple like celebrities or whatever that had died that really gotten to me. He was definitely my first one. Um, and then plus with the change of the company and everything, ever since that happened, I just didn't really like. I just lost interest and got more into music. But then my later years in high school, when I was like 16, 17, I started going to independent shows with my high school buddies because they were also huge wrestling fans. And I was like, screw it, I'll just go with them. And then, yeah, then I just started meeting people and became a fan again and just eventually got invited onto my first show as a valet, and it just went from there.
What was the first independent show you went to?
It was like this one spot show. One of my best friends to this day, he was booking it. And it was called NGW, but I think it stood for Next Generation Wrestling. I don't know. But yeah, like it was like the only show that ran. And I valeted a friend of mine, Lee Fang. I got booked as his valet because he's Chinese. I'm half Japanese, and another friend of ours was also half Japanese. So they just threw us together as the Asian nation, and that ran for a couple years. And yeah, that's what I pretty much did, and that's how I broke in.
You know, it's crazy you mentioned Eddie Guerrero. I remember when he died, he had just wrestled in Austin like a month prior, like the SmackDown before that, No Mercy. And that morning, I was reading the headlines in like some wrestling site, and Christian had just quit. So as I saw breaking Eddie Guerrero, I was like, oh god, Eddie Guerrero quit. And I read, I was like, oh my god, Eddie Guerrero died. And I stopped watching a little bit after that too because I just couldn't. It was just weird, kind of seeing how things changed, and then Benoit happened. I was like, okay, let me take a little bit of a break. But then I eventually just jumped right back into it.
Right, and like I remember, like Vince McMahon was doing that weird like he died angle or something like that, and then like it obviously got completely just wiped because Eddie passed away. So, uh,
Oh yeah, not just Eddie. Sherry died like the week after Vince started that angle on it. There was just it was so weird how they wouldn't mention her
Right.
death because they were doing a death storyline. That's like, okay, guys, this is getting a little too much.
Yeah, like you can't play like that, whenever people are legitimately dying, like in the company and whatnot. So it's just like, I just remember like it was because I think they announced his death on Sunday, but because I remember I went to school and they announced it on Sunday, but I didn't catch it. And then the next day, I went to school that Monday morning, and one of my close friends at the time, who I watched wrestling with, he was like, "Did you not hear?" I'm like, "No," and he told me, I'm like, "What the fuck?" And then like, sorry, I don't know if I can cuss
Oh
on
no,
this.
curse away, yeah.
Okay, cool. Plus, I'm driving too right now, so I may cuss a bit more. But so yeah, and I just remembered like watching Raw that Monday night, and the one thing I remember clearly was just Chris Benoit just crying on camera. Like it just, in a sense, I kind of felt like they shouldn't have aired that, but they did, and it's just crazy how like within like a year and a half after that was when his incident happened, and it's just like both of those men were like two of my top 5 favorite wrestlers, so it was just really tragic all around.
Growing up, I was such a huge Radicals fan back in WCW, and then when they were WWE, I just loved Eddie Guerrero so much. Like when he beat Lesnar for the championship, my sister still makes fun of me to this day. Like I was just screaming and jumping for joy because one, like Eddie Guerrero's not like a big guy. I'm kind of like the similar size as well. I mean, I'm a little bit taller, but it's like finally like a guy my size can like beat the massive beast, and I was just so like invested in his journey. So when he passed, I just I kind of it kind of broke me for a little bit.
And if I'm not mistaken, he was the first Latino wrestler to win the title, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, since Pedro,
Okay. Yeah,
yeah,
so I mean,
but it's still
that,
been a long time.
yeah, exactly, and especially in that era too, like it was a huge deal. So,
Yeah.
but,
So you start with ballets, and then do you eventually go to wrestling school, or is this
yeah,
something you just kind of like slowly pick along?
well, kind of both. I went to Killerton Brooks, and I learned a lot of my basics there, like how to bump and everything like that. Um, and obviously, like running the ropes, take the headlock takeover, basic chain, all that kind of stuff. I learned through Killer. But then that's when I started valeting at ACW in Austin. So I, considering at the time they were bringing in a lot of like solid talent. They had a lot of solid home talent too. Don't get me wrong, but they started bringing in a lot of talent, out of state, if not out of country at times. And I would just, I became friends with them over time. And so if there was any spare time I had before the show started, I'd be like, hey, do you mind jumping in the ring with me for like 20, 30 minutes if you're not busy? And a lot of them were very eager to do it. And that's like, I loved ACW at that time. I loved being there because it was a huge family. And it's like, it was great how a lot of people were just like eager and happy to just help me out. And there was a couple other people too that were at my level or maybe just starting wrestling that wanted to do the same thing. So they'd have us like, I remember Portia Perez, for example, just had a few of us in the ring and she started going over little drills and stuff with us, like before doors opened. And it's like everybody else was happy to give up the ring to let us do that. So yeah, that's how I kind of tried to figure out what really worked for me and what didn't work for me. It was a really good stepping stone, I believe. So.
From ACW, did you go to NPX afterwards, or is it you were in ACW for a while?
I was at ECW for a while, but yeah, I ended up going to NPX afterwards for sure. I was with NPX for a bit. I was actually with NPX. No, I take that back. NPX and ACW at the same time as a ballet. But then whenever I started wrestling, I wrestled for ACW exclusively, like my first 6 or 7 months. The rest of that year, I didn't really wrestle much. So that's why I say, like, my first year wrestling, like, it was one of those more inactive years I had. I only wrestled ACW. I wrestled maybe 4 or 5 shows at most. And they were very limited, obviously, because I was very, green, so I didn't really get to do too much. Um, the rest of that year, I was going through a lot of personal issues, so I didn't really wrestle much of that next year. But then NPX started using me shortly after that, because that's when Richard Hill took over, and so he kind of gave me a platform there at NPX to start really learning and getting my feet wet in the business and actually wrestling and not just valeting at that point.
What year did Richard Hill take over? Because I don't know if you actually know this. I trained in MPX for like 6 months, 6 months
Oh
to
wow.
Kirby back in I want to say 2010 or 11. So yeah,
Uh,
it didn't last too
Richard.
long. It's only six
Yeah,
months.
Richard Hill took over. I want to say like end of 2013, early 2014.
Okay.
Kyle Davis was kind of like running the books beforehand. Um, and then I think before that it was just Kirby by himself. But I could be wrong, but I think it was just Kirby. Then Kirby brought on Kyle Davis to help, and then Kyle Davis decided to let go of it, and Richard Hill took over, which I think was the best thing that ever happened to MPX because he's great. Don't get me wrong, but it's nice to have that little extra help, especially with Richard Hill's resume being with PCW for all those years and everything. Like, I really like where MPX is at right now. It's awesome.
That's good. No, that's good. I love seeing where MPX has grown to. Like, it's one of my biggest regrets of just kind of giving up. But yeah, those 6 months was awesome. This is where I met BC too. I was doing the thing, learning the ropes, taking my bumps, and I'll tell you, any of my listeners, taking bumps is no fucking joke. Like the first time you hit the mat, you just get the wind out of your sails.
And I mean, especially, I don't know what kind of ring. They definitely didn't have the same ring they have now back then.
Hmm.
But anybody training at MPX right now, like they're lucky. That ring is pretty solid. It's nice, and even then, it's still rough. But like, for example, last night the ring I was in Indiana, like had no. It was soft. The padding was good, but there was just no give. So it literally just like went right all up in my back, and I'm feeling it today. I'm so feeling it today. Um, so yeah, like anybody who was blessed to train, and also the very first ring I trained in was Killers, which is a very old ring. It's big too, so it's really hard to train at a big ring like that, only to size down to a smaller one when you're actually somewhere else. Um, but it could have been worse. I've been in very terrible rings, and Killers wasn't as bad as other rings I've been in. But just anybody who has access to an awesome school with great rings that are size, a good size and everything, like they shouldn't be taking that for granted. That's for sure.
What's the best size? What would you say is the best size ring?
Um, I mean, I'm more partial to 18 by 18. That's what most people use. Um, but again, there are some places I'll use like 2022, or some places even use like a 16, and that's just weird. But yeah, I prefer the 18 because it's average. It's again what most people use.
Is that what WWE uses? 18? I thought they used 16. I could be wrong though.
No, WWE's ring is huge. It's like 22. I want to say. I could be wrong.
22.
It's like uh, because I remember the first time I went in one, I went to like run. I went to do a drop down, and I was just like, "Whoa, that's far!" It was So yeah, I think they use at least a 20, if not a 22, if I'm not mistaken.
So you transition from ballet into in ring, and you get some matches under your belt. What's like? I didn't think you said the first match you had was a title match.
Yeah,
Do
it
you
was like.
get like title matches right off the bat, or is it just like, hey, we need somebody to work Athena tonight?
Wait, say that again. It kind of broke out.
Oh no, I was saying, did they just place you in the title match, saying, all right, here you go, kid, let's just see what you got, or was it just like, okay, we need somebody to work with Athena tonight? Machiko's good, let's put her in there.
I don't know exactly how it was, like how it came about that decision. Um, it's weird because it was a TV match and a quote unquote TV title, but it was technically their pre-show. Like ACW would do 2 YouTube matches at the beginning of the show, but those matches were just on YouTube. They weren't on the DVDs that they were selling, which they used to sell a lot of DVDs. Like there was a huge market through Smart Mark that they had where they were selling a bunch of DVDs because again they would bring in like big names and whatnot that would help push it, which would expose uh, the extra like smaller local talent, which was great. So I wasn't on those DVDs, but I was put on YouTube, and that's what their TV title was for. It was essentially pre-match. So yeah, Athena was kind of stuck on the pre-matches for a while because she had that title, but I think they still kind of used her on the main card too around that time. But that was so long ago, I can't really remember.
Do you guys still keep up, or?
Her and I?
Yeah, you and Athena.
I mean, I don't really. We never were super close. Like, I mean, we're friendly and cordial. Don't get me wrong. Like, if I see her, we'll say hi and like chit chat and stuff. But you know, her and I never became like really close personal friends or anything like that. If anything, her and her husband and I, Palmer, we've always like talked and hung out more. Not like in, you know, it was always like in group outings and stuff. Like she's I think my favorite memory with Athena, because she's like an early night person where she just like goes to sleep early and she can go to sleep wherever she wants. It's like um, one year for ACW when I was still valeting, we had a show at Fun Fest, that 3-day festival in Austin, and we all had this huge after party at Mason's house. Mason was a camera guy for ACW. I don't know if he still is or not, but he had a pretty big size house, and we had like these huge after parties. And right when we get there, like Athena's already asleep on the couch. When there's like loud music, all of us are drinking, like, you know, whatnot. Like, she's just passed out on the couch, sleeping through everything. And yeah, so I guess that's kind of why like her and I never really like got to know each other personally. Cause I feel like every time we were hanging out, she was asleep. But she had a super early day job, so that kind of makes sense. But Palmer is usually the one that's out, like in a group outing or group setting, and him and I just, I guess, know each other a bit more. But even then, like, they're not like super close to me, but I can call them friends easily, and I'm really happy for her and where she's at.
That's good. Yeah, no, I'm happy seeing like all her progress and like success in WWE. It's kind of it's just so humbling to see like a person I watched in the Indies is now making it big time. So it's awesome.
Yeah, and it's like, especially for us females, because it's so hard, or it was so hard back in the day, because they weren't really hiring, and I can say this for some of the guys too, they weren't really hiring wrestlers, they were hiring like supermodels or TV personalities and stuff like that. So for a female to be good at wrestling and to be in this business and pay their dues and everything, it's like it just seemed like there wasn't really a chance. But then when Triple H took over and kind of like built it more based on like hiring independent wrestlers, and he hired his first wave of, you know, females from the independents, like to see Athena ride that first wave and get hired on pretty much instantaneously, like, it was amazing. It was kind of like, in a sense, where she's been ready for WWE for a long time, but they weren't really ready for her. So it's great to see where she's going.
Yeah, no, one of my biggest like criticisms back of like WWE, especially in the late 2000s especially during the ruthless aggression era, was their focus on, and no offense to anybody was when I say this, but their focus on like supermodels instead of like females with actual wrestling talent. Like, I love Natalia, and I was always so frustrated seeing all these other girls get these opportunities over Natalia when I know that she's such an amazing wrestler if they just gave her the opportunity to show herself. Like her and Beth Phoenix, I was always felt that they're just kind of spinning their wheels when they could be like doing what Becky Lynch is doing now, like main eventing shows.
Right. No, I mean, Natalia is one of my favorite wrestlers on the planet. And exactly, it's just that's not, they didn't feel like that was their market at the time, you know? Like, in her and Beth Phoenix are beautiful ladies, like, they're great and they're awesome in the ring, but it's just like, I guess that just wasn't what they thought or what they were trying to go for at the time, you know? Like, but I'm just glad to see that women's wrestling has changed now, where, you know, Natalia is getting these title runs, and, you know, they kind of like put her on a pedestal as like the veteran of all the females, because she is like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, you can't discredit not only her own wrestling experience, but then the obvious of her being in the Hart family and everything. Like, you know, she's definitely like the best female wrestler they have, without a doubt.
No, I definitely agree with that. Yes, I'm very excited for from how far women's wrestling has come, especially because I have friends who are starting to get into wrestling as females, and they're actually wanting to train, and it's good to know that there's no glass ceiling for them now. Like, they can rely on their talent to kind of get them so far.
Right. And it's like they don't. I remember way back when they came out with that big book, the Unscripted. Like, it's old. Like 2002, I think, is when that book came out. I never realized until I read Stacy Keibler had a little like article or section in that book, and she had exposed WWE for saying that WWE required all their females to get breast augmentation. They had to get fake tits, and she was like stating pretty much like she was the only female at the time that needed to get it because she had her legs. Like that was her selling point, that she had long legs. So it's like, it's good now to see all females from all shapes and sizes, like, all different looks and everything, like getting an opportunity, based off of their talent and their work ethic. Like it's really good.
No, yeah, I definitely agree. And like kind of touching back to what we said about Eddie Guerrero, it's just good to see like all females, like all diversity, like seeing Asuka in the ring, or Naomi or Natalia, like especially at WrestleMania this past year. I can't tell you how like excited I was when Kofi won the championship, because as
Yes.
an African American male, I don't really have that many wrestlers to look up to, because other than The Rock, we never really had a WWE World Champion that was African
Right.
American. He's half black, so I would constantly be rooting for these African American wrestlers to succeed and want him to get kind of pushed to that glass ceiling, because I wanted someone, I wanted like little kids like me back in the day to like have someone to look up to. So yeah, when Kofi won the belt, I was just in tears, jumping for joy. It's probably one of the best moments I've ever had, because I was just finally seeing somebody like me win a championship was awesome.
Yeah, and I agree, and I can kind of relate to that whenever Shinsuke Nakamura and Asuka won the Royal Rumble last year. Because again, it's two Japanese talent, like actually like, winning a pay-per-view, like having that top spot. And it's just crazy how times have changed like that, where, like you said, like people of different ethnicities, it's not so culturally divided anymore. Like everybody has an opportunity now. It's great.
Yeah, yeah, and then like yeah, especially back in the day, their use of Japanese talent was really, I've always felt was criminal. So it's good to kind of see them turn the tide on that.
Right. I definitely
Lars,
agree.
you mentioned having a day job. How hard is it to balance your day job with wrestling?
Well, bartending, it's good and bad at the same time. It's a double-edged sword. It's good because it can be really flexible. Um, it's not like a Monday through Friday where you have to be there. And it's like you have to depend on paid time off, and you only have to like you only have that for X amount of days or whatever, if you even get that. Um, Bartending, it's kind of like, hey, like I can't work this weekend or I can't work this shift. Like somebody else can fill in for me. Like it's very easy on that sense. It's also really good because obviously the money can be really good in bartending, but it also can suck some days. But on average, I do like 30 to 40 an hour, which is awesome. But it also sucks too because there's no real stability in it, and it's also very political. Um, Considering I do need weekends off for the most part for wrestling, it's like hard to find jobs sometimes because a lot of bar jobs that need bartenders, they always want somebody with open availability and somebody who can work every weekend. It's really hard to find a Monday through Friday bartending gig because a lot of people who have those are parents that have kids that they go home to and stuff like that, and they don't let go of those jobs because it's so hard. Um, but I've made it work. It's worked with me. At times have been rough. Like this summer was really rough for me. Just because business come and goes. It just depends on the season. And I had one bar that I worked at shut down and stuff like that. So it's a bit tricky, but I found it to work best for me because I've tried other jobs in the past that it just didn't really work out in my favor.
It's good. It's good that you can find jobs that help out with your schedule. Because yeah, like you said, you would need weekends off to work shows. So
Right. But
and you,
I've
oh
had
no, good.
bar jobs before. I had one particularly that my manager, he was a huge wrestling fan, so he loved that I needed weekends off, and he would always like um, compensate for my missed time. So if I happened to be off work one weekend, he'd give me really good shifts during the week, and he would work with me. But then he had to transfer to another location, and we got a new manager in, and she didn't like that I wasn't available. She thought that I could afford the time off, so she just didn't really like work with me. She thought that she wanted people that made that place a priority, and I'm like, I'm sorry, no bar job is going to be I mean, it's a priority where I'll come in and I'll do my best because I'm never gonna half-ass something. Like I'll do a good job and I'll be 100% when I'm there, but just in my life and in my mind, it's just not a priority for me because it's not what I want to do for the rest of my life. It's just not. And a lot of bars I've worked at are older bars where everybody who's there has been there forever because they make really good money. And it's like some bars just like having those kind of people there and not people like me who have other things going on. So.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm always a big sticker of always follow what your passion, what you're like really motivated to do. And I right now I'm currently trying to be an actor. So anytime if I ever get like a big acting gig, I'm gonna tell my other job like, hey, I gotta take this because this is what I really want to do. This is like the thing I'm most this is what I'm here for. So I'm sorry, I can't do it tonight. I have to do what I want to do. So I fully support you in that in situations where it's like, no, I gotta work my shows.
Right. And like I did Extra Talent a few months ago, and I'm not going to drop names, but somebody I did Extra Talent with actually lost their job because they did Extra Talent because obviously it's a Monday and Tuesday gig when you do that, and he decided to do the Extra Talent work as opposed to going to work, and he explained to them and everything and tried to get that date off and all that kind of stuff and like in advance, and they just didn't want to work with him and they let him go. I'm like, that's shit, dude. And it's like it's just I could not work a job like that where they just wouldn't support my dreams and and it's ridiculous. And plus like the Extra Talent pays more per day than like most basic jobs would. So
Yeah.
it's like A, support you for going and pursuing a dream, and B, like making extra money because we all have bills to pay or we have kids to take care of. Like that's not a job I want.
So kind of walk me through your booking process. Is it something that you have to go out and reach the promoter, or is it the promoter reaching out to you saying, "Hey, can you come work our show tonight?" Like, say when you went to Indiana, did the promoter reach out to you? It's like, "Hey, can you fly up here?" I don't. Do they put up for like a hotel or flights at all, or?
They do, but at first they didn't because um, as far as answering the first question, it's both. It's like I will reach out to people I want to be there for, especially when it's like new areas or it's like higher profile shows or shows that have my friends on it that I want to like maybe go see, maybe go work or whatever. Like, I reach out to promotions I want to be on, or areas I want to be in, but they can also reach out to me too. And with the case with the Revolution Championship Wrestling is who I was with last night in Indiana. They reached out to me. As far as flights and hotels go, I did not get that luxury when I first broke in, and most people don't because if they don't know you and if they don't think you're going to bring any value to the show, or if you're not experienced enough, whatnot, that they it's not going to do them any favor because you're not going to sell tickets or you're not going to, they may think that you're not going to put on a 5-star match like they'd like or whatever, or they don't want you to come in and possibly like injure their hometown girl or guy, whoever it may be. You know what I mean? It's just there's too much risk bringing in somebody that you don't know, that you're not familiar with, and putting money out of your pocket to support them. So in exchange, my first couple of years wrestling, I I went out there. I would drive like my car's been all over the country and it's been in Mexico and everything. Like I'm in my car right now. I have 195,527 miles and I bought it at 20,000. Um, so it's just getting yourself out there, whether you pay for your own flight or drive. You're lucky if you even make $1 on the show you're on. If anything, you're probably going to get 20, 30 bucks. But it's part of paying your dues. So I wouldn't trade it for the world. And then once you get that, once you get out there and once you get yourself out there, then it's like when people start to notice that you may bring in value, you may make their home person look good, or you may sell a few extra tickets or whatever it may be, then it's worth it for them to invest money into you by paying for your hotel, paying for your flight, all that kind of stuff. So luckily I've gotten to that point now where the last couple of years, like year or two, I've had my accommodations paid for. um, and it's a blessing. It's great.
No, no, that's good. That's great. What what would you say was the match that put you on the map? Like what do you think is the one that made everyone kind of see you?
I don't. I want to say one of the first matches. I would credit that to 3 matches I've had. Um, 2 of which were local, and one was the first one was with Sue Young at NAWA. That was in Ennis, Texas. But we had such a quirky and like crazy match. Like it was insane. It was a no disqualification match, and she does her dead bride gimmick with the face paint and everything. She
Yeah.
came out in like a chef's apron with like a cookie tray, and like I did a shot of tequila off her stomach. Like it was crazy. Like there was cat food involved. Like it was like nuts. Um, I think that really like kind of put that. I mean, it was already on the map locally as is, but that kind of like put me a step or two ahead because Sue Young and I've known her since I valeted at ACW, so I've known her for years. So to be able to finally get in the ring with her, like she's gone out and put the word out. She's like posted the videos and pictures and stuff like that of us wrestling, and because she's very well known and she's on TV like that, I think really kind of put me out there. And I would say the same goes for the match I had a couple months after that was with Lufisto for VIP because she did the same thing. Like she, you know, shared the promo, she shared clips and all that kind of stuff. So just being able to wrestle more high volume performers as such, like I feel like that summer where I had those 2 matches is when I really started getting out there. And then another match that's one of my more viewed matches. Or actually, I have 2 matches I can credit as far as YouTube hits goes. It was my singles match with Lainey for Booker T's show, the Ladies Night Out. Um, that's one match I like to send to promoters because her and I have really good chemistry. And it's really good production. It's a really good show to be on. So that one, and I did a tag match. It was me and Robin Reed against Rachel Ellering and Victoria, and that was at Gas Monkey. So, and that was good too because I used to work at Gas Monkey, so I had a lot of my friends out there. So the crowd was hot. It was obviously with Rachel Ellering and Victoria, like 2, very credible wrestlers. I would credit any exposure I may have had as far as like to the masses to those 4 matches for sure.
Yeah, I'll have to check them out. Do you have a? I have 2 questions. Do you have first? What's like your favorite match style to work, and do you prefer to work heel or babyface?
I prefer heel. Um, it's just something I've been most comfortable with. I've worked with the most. Um, I prefer heel for sure. And also, I think it just depends on who I work as well. Uh, because sometimes it's easier being a face. I don't know. It just depends. But I'm more so used to and prefer heel. Uh, and as far as my style goes, my style is very like submission heavy, strong style, like Japanese strong style wrestling. So that's typically my like. I don't do anything off the top rope unless if it's like to a guy, and I'll do like a Rana off the top rope, something like that. But that's very rare. I just I stick with technical wrestling, submission style. I've been doing a lot of power moves lately as well, so I stick to that like groundwork.
How many? Because I was reading years ago, I was reading Jericho's book, and he always said like he likes to keep track of how many matches that he's had. Do you know how many matches you wrestled? Do you keep track of like say, oh, this is match number 192 or something like that?
Man, I used to, and I'm really sad because I lost that book, and I just kind of like I used to have a journal where I'd write them down, but then I lost it, and I just kind of like lost track after that. Man, I would say at least 400 to 500, 500 maybe stretching it, just because I don't rest. Like, there's people who wrestle like 2 to 3 times every weekend, and I don't do that, especially with bartending. Like, I can't necessarily do that. But lately, I've been wrestling more on the weekends because I found a bar job that gives me Saturday nights off. But I would say 400 to 500 is a comfortable number. 500 maybe stretching it, but
That's so good.
I
That's
also,
pretty
also
big.
yeah, and I also I've been taught to just not. I mean, obviously, when you first break in, you know, it's good to like get the experience and get yourself out there and whatnot. So yeah, I definitely am all over the idea of like getting as many matches as you can early on. But I feel like I'm at the level now where, you know, especially being as known as I am in this state, I don't want to wrestle the same circuit of females 2 to 3 times every weekend because to me it's like that just hurts me more than anything. Like Jax Dane, I remember he explained this to me at a show one time. He's like, you have a bump card. Don't punch too many holes in it. Like, you can only take so many bumps until eventually you just get broken. And it's like, I don't want to punch too many holes in my bump card against people I've already wrestled 20, 30 times in front of the same crowd I've already wrestled, hundreds of times. And, just so that's just how I see it. It's like I'm trying to save my bumps and my body and my time for either areas that I've never wrestled before, people I've never wrestled before, or like title matches or storyline driven matches and stuff like that, like where it's actually going to pay off in a sense.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like you gotta, yeah, work smarter, kind of lengthen your career. Don't try to shorten it out. Yeah.
And not only that, but because I do bartend, it's like, if I could spare myself a weekend of wrestling to make that extra dollar bartending, then like I'm all over that. So,
Have you ever had any like major injuries, or have you just been lucky?
I've been pretty lucky for the most part. I've had concussions, but that's about it.
That's good. So one thing that I've seen on your social media that you love cats, which is awesome because I'm biased. I have two of the best cats in the world. Their names are Oliver and Sam. Um,
Okay, we can fight about that, but whatever.
it's okay. I'll win, so it's all right. So,
I don't know about that, but I have five.
you have
So
five? Okay, yeah, maybe you'll win. Shit.
I um whenever Ted Hart and I worked together, we would breed cats. Um, so all my cats are Persians, and I whenever him and I like parted ways, I ended up taking four of the cats because two of which I got, they were super feral. So even around strangers to this day, they're very weird, but they warmed up to me. Like they love me. And they warm up to people over time, but um, for them, they had a pretty rough life their first like 6 months of being alive. So when I finally got them and I received them, like um, the fact that they warmed up to me and everything, like it's awesome. So I just didn't want to put them in that situation again. Plus, I grew to really love him. And then the boy I bred him, and he was like the one. I said, Mr. Money's first baby, I want to keep him, and his first blonde one anyway. And so I did, and I kept him. And then there was this little girl who I believe is inbred because I wasn't aware that the father and her mom. I didn't realize that her mom was her father's daughter. I didn't know that. Ted had bred these cats before me, and so yeah, like she was the only one in the litter. There was no litter; it was just her,
Yeah.
and um, I noticed that she has like kind of. I mean, Persians are susceptible to breathing issues to begin with, but hers are a bit worse. Like sometimes it sounds like she's snoring, but it's not all the time. It's just every once in a while. And Ted was just like, "Yeah, well, I think her dad is her mom's dad," and I'm like, "Thanks for telling me that." And so I wanted to take her and keep her, and so yeah, I left with those four cats. Um, and then Ted, when he started getting into his legal trouble, Mr. Money was in the SPCA, and Mr. Money, we traveled with him everywhere. Like I traveled with him, and just like I love that cat to pieces. And when he went to the SPCA, Ted had given him permission to contact me to adopt him. And I was just like, there's no way in hell anybody else is going to have him. Like, I want him. So that's how I ended up with five cats. And I grew up with like 4 to 5 cats in my house just growing up. So, like, to me, it's not a lot. I'm used to it. But obviously, to other people, they think it's kind of weird, but I don't care.
No, not weird at all. Like I said, cats are awesome. My cats, I didn't realize that they weren't fixed because when I got them, they told me they were fixed. It's like, oh, okay, cool. So a year later it goes by, and then my cat Sam gets pregnant, and they're brother and sister too. So yeah, I raised a inbreed cat cat litter as
Oh,
well. And there was like 3 cats, so I had 5 cats at one point in time before I had to give them up. But yeah, no, having five cats isn't too bad.
yeah. Like, I mean, it just I have roommates at home, luckily, so whenever I'm not home, I'm out of town and stuff. They do a really good job at taking care of them, and they also own a dog boarding business too. So and they have animals of their own, and they're just used to. Uh, I mean, they love animals. Like, it's a married. I live with a married couple. Her name is Kat. She was my manager back when I was like 18. I worked at a Spencer's Gifts at a mall, and she was my manager. And so whenever I parted ways with Ted, I went and moved in with them. She loves animals. She's worked at like pet supply stores. She's worked at a pet hotel. Um, she did canine training for the U.S. Navy, all that kind of stuff. Like, so I couldn't ask for better people to look after my animals whenever I'm gone. So it's really not hard as long as you keep up with litter boxes, make sure they're fed, obviously, and stuff like that, and everything's clean. Like, it's a headache. I do have to deep clean my room at least like once, twice a week, but I mean, to me, it's worth it. So, and it's a cakewalk compared to the 10 or so cats I used to have when I was breeding. So, really, it was just not. It's not a big deal to me.
How old's your oldest cat?
Mr. Money's my oldest cat. I want to say he's like maybe 5 to 6 years old.
Oh,
Yeah, he's like maybe 6 to 7 actually. Now I'm thinking about it, but he was Ted's cat like when I met Ted. So um I want to say he was maybe 2 to 3 years old when I met Ted. So yeah, that puts him at like 7 or so years old right now. Um, then I have Maggie and Gorgo, which are the two cats I told you about, the two females that were super feral. They were born early 2015, and then my Mr. Money's son, Maneki Neko, he was born 2016, shortly after WrestleMania weekend, actually. And then the June after that, April, was when Beatrice, the little inbred, was born. She's my
oh.
sweetest cat, though. She is so small. Like, she's a forever kitten. Like, and that's also why I'm like, okay, yeah, she's definitely inbred because she's very tiny. But she is so sweet. She nuzzles in my legs when I sleep. She's a licker. She will just constantly lick your arm, your face, whatever. Like, and she's so sweet to strangers too. Like, she's adorable. I love her.
Well, it's good that you have a good such relationship with your cats. And so you said one was born around WrestleMania. This kind of bring me up to my next point. So I met you at this year's WrestleMania, like, and you honestly probably met me at the worst time because it was after the show ended. We were, God, we were waiting for 3 hours for the buses, so we were just drenched in
Yeah,
rain and cold. And I was so mad and like just wanting to sleep and get home. So yeah, I met you just like, all right, hi, bye, I'm going to sleep, and yeah.
yeah. No, I don't blame you at all. Like, I mean, I didn't even watch WrestleMania. I literally just stayed in that room and slept that whole day. Like, the night before, because you and Anthony and BC, like, y'all saved my ass. Because the night before, um, I got hit because the people that I was staying with, they were leaving that Sunday morning, and I didn't realize that. So they didn't tell me until the night before. They're like, "Hey, we're leaving tomorrow morning to check out or whatever." I'm like, "Whoa, I'm here till Monday. Like, I need a place to stay." And uh, Anthony ended up talking to me, like asking me what I was doing or where I was at or whatever. And I was like, "Hey, I think that Saturday night, did I wrestle at Blackcraft that Saturday night? I want to say, or maybe I went to MLW and hung out. Yeah, I went to MLW and hung out, and then I hung out with oh, it was the Kevin Nash party I did that Saturday night. That's what it was. And so I ended up just the night started off really good, and then it just like ended up bad because I got into like a fight with a friend of mine that weekend, and we made things up and everything, but I was just not in a good mood. Um, Ended up getting back to my original hotel super late that night and had to wake up early the next day to check out. And yeah, I was just like miserable, and I just needed a place to stay. And Anthony was like, "Oh, we have a hotel at the Bronx if you want to come up." And I'm like, "All right, cool, bet." And y'all were already gone at that point, and so I got my stuff to the hotel and everything, and that was probably around like 1 or 2 in the afternoon. And I walked down the street to a bar and just like had a few drinks and came and walked back. and got food and came back to the hotel. And I was so tired. I just slept that whole day away, really. Like, I just was happy to have my own room, because New York is such a big city and I was all over the place with all these people and everything. It was kind of nice to wind down at the end of that weekend with just a room to myself. And yeah, so I was dead asleep, and then y'all came in, and I talked with y'all for a bit and stuff, but like I was able to fall right back asleep with you guys because yeah, I felt for y'all. Y'all didn't get back till like 3 or 4 in the morning that night because y'all waited
Yeah, it was
forever.
insane. 'Cause the show ended at 12:30 a.m. and yeah, we
Yeah,
just waited
yeah,
forever for some kind of transport back.
yeah, and y'all had to wait outside too and everything. Like that was rough. Like I remember the next day, like I think it was either BC or Anthony taking a blow dryer to their clothes.
Oh
I'm like, man, that sucks. And like, I tried cleaning up y'all's room too. I think Anthony made a joke about it. He's like, oh, this room's all clean. I'm like, yeah, y'all need a girl staying with y'all on these trips. And I felt like it was the least I could do. Like, you
no,
know,
it was all good. Like it was funny when we had left and we were on the way to the stadium, and he was like, "Hey, is it okay if my friend Maj stays with us?" It's like, "Yeah, that's fine." And he would keep asking me. He's like, "You sure? You sure?" Like, "Yes." I said, "It's fine. It's fine." And I had already kind of pregame, so I was already kind of like in mania mode. Like, all right, you got whatever. Let's get to mania. I don't care. She can stay. What's her name? I'll put her name on there. They'll get Ricky and what's up. Yeah, he kept asking forever and ever. Even like BC was getting annoyed. He said it was fine. Just tell her she could stay.
God, Anthony is so weird like that sometimes. But, I love that guy. But yeah, like, because I remember, because I have a friend of mine, she lives in the Bronx, but she lives like further east of the Bronx, like towards like the Bay of the Water. And um, I was trying to hang out with her that day. And she's like, yeah, we're just watching WrestleMania at the house. But like, I didn't like put two and two together that her now husband, so her husband's brother, so her brother-in-law, like I used to date him a little bit, and like it wasn't like any big deal, but like it ended not like rough, I guess, but we just don't talk. We're not on like talking terms, and so yeah, like he was over there watching WrestleMania. I'm like, because I looked at her Instagram story and I saw like their little WrestleMania watch party. I'm like, oh, that's why. Like that's why we didn't hang out. That's cool. And I was like, that's fine. And plus, like, it was on the opposite side of the Bronx, and she was like, "Where are you staying?" When I told her where I was staying, I told her I was at that bar up the street. She's like, "Girl, you should not be walking by yourself in that area." I'm like, "I don't care." Like, if you act like you fit in, man, and it's not like late at night or something, like you're good. Like,
Yeah, yeah. If you just act like you fit in, no one's gonna mess with you.
So I'm just like, fuck it. I wanted to go get a drink. I got one. The bartender took care of me. Like, it was great. So
Do you have any early? I know it's like super early to plan this out, but do you have any early plans for WrestleMania? I think it's in Tampa next year, right?
it is. I mean, nothing's set in stone. I mean, I'm definitely gonna be there, but yeah, that's one thing I need to start doing too is looking at flights and reaching out to promoters because I tried doing that like right after WrestleMania in New York this year, but people weren't planning shit. Like it just wasn't in their mind already. So, and I couldn't even get a flight at the time because they just weren't available. So, it's about that time of year now where I guess I need to start looking into that.
Yeah, I always start planning my WrestleMania trips like around this time. I always like, okay, I need to save this much. I always get my hotel's always covered, so that I don't have to worry about that. And then I have to start planning out, okay, what days I need to take off for the planes. I always like get a good 5 months advantage. That way, by like April, I'm just like, all right, I'm ready. Don't have to stress out about it. I'm good to go.
Yeah, it's smart. No, I do the same thing. So I always try to make sure I have like a new set of gear made. Like you said, saving up money, getting like a hotel accommodated, whether it's with friends or whatnot, or a place to stay. Um, so I know a few friends that live in Tampa. So I may try to reach out to them, but then again, it's like I kind of don't want to like invite myself over.
Impose. Yeah.
Like it's just
You don't
kind
want
of
to like impose, yeah.
yeah. So it's like in a sense, I kind of like the idea of having a hotel because at least I don't have to feel like I'm impeding on somebody's plans or house or you know what I mean. So
No, I definitely agree with that. When WrestleMania was in Houston a couple years back, I my aunt invited me because my aunt lives in Houston. She invited me to stay, and I was like, I really don't feel comfortable because I don't want to impose on you guys. And plus, it's WrestleMania. I like to go out and party, so I'll be up all night. So I don't want to make too much noise. I always just try to get my own hotel and just do my own thing.
Exactly, and especially because a couple people I do know in Tampa, like they're also in the business, so they're going to be all over the place. It's kind of like, I don't want to worry about either me needing to get back, like say if I have nothing going on, I just want to get back to like shower or nap or whatever it may be. Like I don't want to have to worry about like, hey, whoever it may be, like, hey, I need to be back at the house, or while they're busy doing something, or vice versa. And um, I love attending like Wally Mania and like the Kevin Nash party and stuff. So those are late night affairs that, again, I don't want to, if they just happen to not want to do that, um, I don't want to have to worry about getting back late and waking them up or inconveniencing them or whatever it may be. So it's just like, you know, it's just nice to have a room with maybe an extra person or so to help with the cost, but like to have a room where I can just like get back and just lay my own, like my own bed or whatever, and just not worry about anybody else.
I know, I definitely got you. Well, if next year, if you run into any hotel issues, just don't have Anthony text me that, or not text me, ask me 10 million times. It's it's fine if you need any like hotel help, just let me know.
Dude, hell yeah, man, I appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem, no problem. I got one more question for you before I let you go. What would you say is your dream opponent and dream promotion to work for?
Well, I mean, I'm just gonna get this out of the way. Obviously, the WWE is my dream promotion. It's where I want to be. I mean, I'll give more of like an independent answer, I suppose.
No, no, WWE's fine. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, but like WWE, and my two dream WWE matches is I want a rematch with, well, I guess Ember Moon. I always want to call her Athena, but I'll give her the respect of Ember Moon because it's obviously going to be on WWE, and I really want that to happen. That'd be great to be able to come full circle like that, where I had my first match with her, and seeing her on TV now makes me really want to be on TV, and then like wrestle her on TV would be amazing. So that is like my ultimate dream match. I also really would love to be in the ring with Natalia. Like, love her to pieces. Like, I'm happy I can call her a friend too. Um, so that would be great. But as far as on the independents go, um, well, MLW. I mean, I guess it's not like super independent because they're on TV too. But MLW is a show I have. I they're not using women right now, so it's kind of rough. But I've been trying to like show face and be there, and like you know a lot of my friends are already on that show, so it's like I'm trying to be like, hey, when you decide to start using girls, like I want to be like in front of the line.
Mhm.
Especially because like Ted and Harry and Pillman have all kind of like fancied the idea of like me being the female of the Heart Foundation, so that'd be great if like that would actually really
Oh,
happen.
yeah, that'd be pretty badass stable of all three of you guys, or all four of you guys.
Yeah, like because considering my relationship I had with Ted and how him and I are good friends now, and like I'm good friends with Harry, and like Pillman and I are cool too. He's a friend of mine, but he's like I'm not as close with him. Um, Still a super solid guy, like in how I am. I made friends with a lot of Ted's family and stuff like that. Like I was kind of honored whenever Ted pitched that idea. So it made and I'm like, dude, and even if I'm not with them, like just to be on MLW, I think would be great because again, it's a solid TV promotion but you still have like the independent like freedom in a sense, where you can work indie shows and you know kind of get to put together your own matches and stuff like that. And like I said, a lot of my friends are on that show too, so it's I feel like every time I do show up to MLW to say hi and stuff, I already know everybody there. Like I actually got to meet Georgia, Harry's sister, for the first time when they were here in Dallas last weekend, so that was pretty awesome. So yeah, it would just be good to be on a televised show, but you're already familiar with because you already know most of the people that are on it. So that's probably my dream promotion right now is MLW.
Okay. Well, I'm a big proponent of following your dreams, so I'm going to put this out in the universe, and it's going to happen because me and the universe have a good connection. You're definitely going to be in MLW, and fuck it, I'll say this: you and Natalia, WrestleMania match, WrestleMania 37, you versus Natalia. Let's have it.
Sorry, this girl just walked by and her like, wow. But no, I agree. I want that to happen. Don't get me wrong, but the moment you said that, like this, I guess mom walked with her kid and like half her ass was hanging out of her pants, and I was like, well, no, I'm definitely jealous. But yeah, um, but no, like a WrestleMania match with Natalia would be amazing. A WrestleMania match with Athena would be incredible. Like, especially if they ended up coming back to the Cowboy Stadium and like her and
Oh
I.
yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah.
That is like my ultimate dream match. That's like one thing I would kill for. Like, I could have that one match and retire and be done. I could retire broke for Christ's sakes, and I wouldn't care. I'm like, that's it. I'm done. Like, that would be amazing. Like, I would love to do that. So yeah, that's my definite like top tier ultimate dream match is to wrestle her in our hometown in the biggest stadium like ever. So.
Well, I definitely think it's going to happen. We'll mark this day right now. I'm predicting it. I'm calling it. It's going to happen. Just you wait. Well, Maj, put yourself over. Where can people find you?
I mean, I don't have like an actual domain website, but I am on social media. I don't have a Facebook like page, but I do have a Facebook page. Just look up Machiko San, and I put everything like all my flyers and anything wrestling related, wrestling photos and stuff like that. It's all public, so you can follow me on Facebook, even though it's not a like page. You can still click the follow button, and you can still see all my stuff on there, just in case if I can't get, because my friends list is pretty full for the most part. Um, and the only thing you're missing out on is like me posting cat memes or something like that anyway. So it doesn't matter if you're my friend or not. Um, Twitter and Instagram, both handles are machi_slams. My email is machi_slams at yahoo.com. Like, it's all simple, easy. My YouTube channel is kind of out of date. I need to put more stuff on there, but you can obviously just YouTube me as well, and you'll find my matches on there. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Pro wrestling T-shirt.
Yes, Pro Wrestling Tees. It's Machi Slams. It's no underscore, obviously, because it's a HTML, but it's prowrestlingtees.com/Machi Slams. I have 3 T-shirts up right now. The Jameson one has been the most popular one, so
I like the cat one more. I want to get the cat one.
yeah, the cat one was a huge hit. That was my first shirt I actually made. Was that one? But we changed up the colors a bit on it because my hair was different when I first got them made. So, but it's the same pattern, just different color. But when I first came out with that pattern, they sold like crazy. Because again, everybody loves my cats. Everybody loves Mr. Money because they all know him. And yeah, it was a big hit. And then I came out with this other design. It was like an I Love New York shirt, but it had my name in Japanese instead. It said Machi in Japanese instead of NY. And I had my face in place where the heart is. But those didn't sell that well. But I think it's because people don't really like white T-shirts because they were on white shirts. So, so yeah, like I brought back the cat design. There's another cat design on there. It's like a chakra, like me sitting with like the chocolate colors and everything, and my cat heads around me, like it's really weird and spiritual. But yeah, and then yeah, I have the Jameson one, which, like I said, has been the most popular one so far. So.
Yeah, definitely, guys. Check out her Pro Wrestling T-shirt. I would say get the cat shirt, but also get the Jameson shirt as well. Mach, thank you so much for coming on. I really, really appreciate this. Like I said, WrestleMania 37. I'm pulling for it. I'm putting all my bets on it.
Yes, let's do it.
All right, thanks, Mach.
All right, I'll see you later.
All right, guys. You can also follow me on Twitter at @TheChrisLemche and on Instagram at @TheChrisCrusade. This podcast is also available on Podbean, Stitcher, and now on Spotify. Thank you guys so much for listening. This is a wrap on episode 5. I can't wait to bring you guys another episode next week. Peace.